Hello and welcome to a SMITE explanation video. Now the reason why this is after the first video, sorry, the one talking about the new season, was I had pre-recorded one of these episodes to, and unfortunately in my divine wisdom, instead of copying it over to the other one, I ended up accidentally deleting it with some SMITE videos, because sometimes I check the SMITE videos or clip them because I saw something cool or questioned what the hell happened. So inadvertently I ended up deleting the whole video that I made, so I thought, you know what, let's try and make one again. So, introductions out of the way. This is a follow-up to my earlier video regarding the SMITE Night escapade. Now, I did admit on one of the comments that yes, it was not, should not have been the main point of my anger. It was just an annoyance, and no, after thinking about it, no, yes, it was completely stupid. It was a free box. You get a free box from watching ads on this, so it's completely fine. Nothing that's the problem. My only issue is at the moment is it had nothing to do with SMITE Night, but that tipped me over the edge in terms of my anger for that day. But my main issue with SMITE at the moment is actually the game itself, and it's probably been the most broken it has been in donkey's years. And yes, comments said raging at a free-to-play game. Yes, I agree, it is free-to-play, as it is clearly free-to-play in the store. But I've been playing this game for about roughly 4.5 years now, and in that time, I have put a substantial amount of money in the game. I have bought the God Season Passes, I've bought certain skins because I like the look of them. And yes, it is. If you like a game that much, you can invest money into it. Which I've done with games like GTA, I've done with Deep Rock Galactic, I've done with various Call of Duty games in the past. So, the comment of it's a free-to-play game, yes, it does apply, but even if it is a free-to-play game, you expect a certain level of... You wouldn't play a free-to-play game if it was absolutely terrible, would you? No. But SMITE had a consistent running of being an amazing game, and then over the last 2 years it's on a steady decline. So overall it's not particularly anything to be happy about, saying that SMITE is not a great game anymore, but I can state the obvious, it isn't. And of course I have put lots of time and money into the game. So for me at the moment, why SMITE for me is, it's, how do I say it, with every update pretty much, it's the nerf system and the buff system for gods and items is a hit or miss some of the times. You look at gods who still need buffs, and you look at gods who need drastic nerfs, and you have two different types of games. It's we buffed these people because they're not played as much in Conquest, but doing that, you have to remember that you've messed up every other game type. Such as a prime example not too long ago, good old-fashioned Zeus. Zeus, as a lot of people know, is an extremely underplayed god in the realm of Conquest. And it's mainly because, yeah, he is not very useful in Conquest. He ultimately ended up getting a buff. It's fine, they played him a little bit more in Conquest. But because of his buff, he's practically a top damage god in every other game type. So, without further ado, let's just go straight into it. What is major problems with SMITE at the moment? It is mostly Hi-Rez's fault. It's mostly them as a game company making extremely bad decisions. An easy way to solve this, I'll get this straight out of the way. So the massive problem is they keep releasing new gods very, very quickly. Some games go maybe through 4 gods a year. I know for a fact some games like Apex Legends, Siege, and even Overwatch at their time, they would release a new god or a new character longer spans. Because in that span you'd add a new battle pass, you'd add new cosmetics, and then you release the new god. And in some ways you'd release a new map. Like Tom Clancy's Siege, it was notorious for they would release 2 operators, a map, and then give you a long stretch of time to play them. And even so, if they release the new operators, they would put in place that you could play if you bought the season pass, no, the year pass. You had 1 week of only the year pass players playing the new operator. But in ranked, they would be banned. So obviously it was just for casual play, which is completely fine. It's a clever system. And in some games, they actually added in a festive game mode. Like they would add in try and think of one. Like Siege, they would add in a custom game type. Like they did what was it? A Halloween event, a Christmas event. Similarly, what they do on some games like Overwatch, they have a festive event where you all go around that. A great one example is Killing Floor. Killing Floor had they turned all the undead and all the zombies and everything in the world into Christmas characters. So it was an event style for that. So that's how they span out their games. For me, I think this might end up pushing more characters out more quickly. That's why I made the other video, was it surprised me how quickly between Lancelot and Ishtar. I mean, for me, honestly, in terms of, we'll get to that in a minute, in terms of the nerfs and buffs, Lancelot still is an extremely overpowered god. And Ishtar very quickly came out. So that's the main problem at the moment. When they release gods too quickly, they add the newest god in, and then they have to fix that newest god. Alternatively, I don't know why you don't test this on another platform before you release it, but of course this is Hi-Rez's decision, and in my opinion they are not a very bright game company. They used to, which is very weird. I don't know what happened at Hi-Rez development. They had a pretty damn decent game. I'd probably put it in my top 10 years ago. I started on the update of, I want to say, Cuchulainn, but I didn't play it as much. My official time when I fully went 100% Smite is the best game ever was in the mix of Cherniborg and Baron Samedi. When I started playing, the newest god released was Baron Samedi. And of course since then, there were just a lot of gods, and they were a lot of fun to play. I can actually probably guess the pinnacle of when it all went downhill for me. You had your gods like King Arthur, Jorm, Merlin. They were all top tier gods who really did break the game. But for me, the one god that it just broke the whole game for me was when they released Cthulhu. Cthulhu made no sense when he first came out. He's been managed and contained now, but he's still a powerful god. So the major problem with Hi-Rez, they release content too quickly. And while that is a good thing, you can say, oh sweet, we got a new god to play with. It's not like you haven't got many gods. You have 11 pages of gods. So, argument's sake, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. 12 times 11. Oh, sorry, 12 times 10. 120 gods. 120 characters. I think that's enough. But, you know. So, the only problem you have, I mean, you're not strapped for choice by any stretch. The problem you have is when they release the newest god, by terminology of Smite, the newest god has to be broken. They obviously, and I will argue with anyone on this, they don't test the god beforehand. And if they say they do, they obviously are lying. Because Lancelot wasn't tested, the rework of Bastet wasn't tested, Cthulhu was definitely not tested. The fact when Cthulhu came out, he had to have 9 nerfs before he was playable. That's another one as well. But so you have to have the most god being the most broken. The newest god being the most broken. The only one who wasn't was Atlas. And Atlas was a rare one. When he came out, he wasn't actually that powerful. Oddly enough, a week later they had to buff him because they obviously made the mistake of, oh wait, he's not powerful, let's make him powerful. So when they release the newest god, so in our case the newest god is Ishtar, that's her. Fine. The next update, they'll release a buff or a nerf to her because she's either too strong or just doesn't really fit the criteria of broken. That's fine. Your problem is you've actually got 120 other gods to look at, maintain, and monitor. So, argument's sake, on this screen here, who technically would be classed as a broken god? At the moment, well, I can instantly see on this screen alone 2 characters who technically could be classed as broken. Achilles and Alquan are both instant kill gods. In my opinion, the instant kill mechanic seems a little bit cheesy, but for a character like Achilles, where you have to actually physically try and aim with it, is a little bit harder. With Alquan being up close to them and just eating them, yeah, that's not overly difficult, if you ask me. Who else on this screen could be classed as overpowered? Well, Anubis, yes. The heal system at the moment is drastically broken. And subsequently, that meant the anti-heal system is quite broken as well. Anubis is lifesteal. Now, for those who haven't been around Smite for that long, let's just give a quick story about this whole system. We can also talk about the parasitic leech. Ages ago, they tried to rework the heal system. Now, what they did was they reduced the heal settings, but they added something clever. They nerfed the heal outside of combat. Fine. But they buffed the heal inside of combat. Okay. So, argument. You're Quan Yu, you sit outside the area, heal. You get less. But your Chang, or Chonga, sorry, I have to say how the rabbit says it. Even you are in the middle of combat and you use your circle ability, which causes damage and heals you, you get more heal than you would not fighting. That one there just doesn't make sense full stop, and I don't think anyone thought that through. But, ignore that. What else did they do? Well, they buffed the heal-based items. Now, if you were going to, argument's sake, if you were going to go fix something, like it's drastically unbalanced. It's not unbalanced because it's not very good. It's unbalanced because it's too broken. Your first thought is, okay, let's change the systems, heal less outside of combat, heal more inside of combat, but then, ultimately, let's buff the heal outside of combat, both of them, so it used to be 10% per item. Caduceus Shield, that one that I can never remember. Rod of Healing upgrade, I think it's Rod of Asclepius or something like that. So they went from 10% to 20%. Fine. Okay. So you have ultimately nerfed the heal outside of combat, you buffed the heal inside of combat, and then you buffed the heal items. Fine. But then, Hi-Rez had the impervious idea, the unthinkably genius idea. They nerfed the anti-heal. So they nerfed Pestilence, Contagion, Divine Ruin, Brawler's Beatstick. They nerfed them. Okay. From 50... It was originally 50. When I started playing this game, Pestilence was 50. From 50 to 40, fine. But from 40 to 20. Wow. And Divine Ruin went to, I think it was 60 to 40. I never bought into Divine Ruin. Okay. Do you see the problem with that? Because if you don't, there's something wrong with you. Honest to God. You nerfed the anti-heal. Okay. You nerfed the anti-heal, but you buffed the heal. How does that make sense? You nerfed the heal out of combat, that's fine. But you buffed the heal in combat, and then you buffed the heal items, and then nerfed the anti-heal. That doesn't make logical sense. It's the exact same thing they did with the crit system. And you question it again. The crit system is still broken. And that fellow who commented on my video, I'm sorry, you must be deranged. The crit system is definitely broken. And I'll get into that one later. It's going to be a long video from the sounds of it. So, you notice, so the whole heal system is drastically still broken. Ultimately, what you love, this is my favourite thing. The argument is, oh no, it's not broken. Hi-Rez redid it. Alright? They had to change the anti-heal back to what it was because it was that badly broken. The heal system was that badly broken, they had to revert it back to what it was. And I made a video on it at the time about this, so was 100% there. So, my favourite thing, so that's that. So, how does that impact Anubis? Quite easily. Anubis isn't heal. Anubis is lifesteal. Alright? That wasn't touched. So when they nerfed the anti-heal hits both lifesteal and heal. So when they buffed the heal system and didn't do anything to the lifesteal system, because the anti-heal system was nerfed, it basically went, the anti-heal and the heal system got a massive buff because they could just roam freely. So Anubis went to being still, and still is, an extremely overpowered god, because the heal system still isn't working. Aphrodite, another prime example. In my opinion, I have 3 gods in this game who I want removed, gone, forgotten. This god is ridiculous. She doesn't make sense. She is the only god in the game whose sole purpose is to leech herself to somebody else, heal them, give them mana, and then cause damage and cause an invincibility. She's the only god in the game who makes no lick of sense because she has to be attached to somebody. The heal system is drastically broken, and I can tell you one of your main problems is this stupid cow. Hands down, Aphrodite is one of the few gods in the game who makes absolutely no sense. Her abilities make sense, but the fact she can't play by herself. She has to be with somebody. And more times than not, I'm sorry, you do see it in games where you have somebody come along and they go, alright, what's the plan, guys? Let's all go kill the big dude. Let's go kill him. No. What you want to do is kill the person who's healing her. Kill the Aphrodite. Cut the snake's head off. But ultimately, then it gets a little bit out of hand. So, that's just from the first page, straight away. 4 gods who have problems. We'll go over some who don't. Amuzinkarp has a lot of damage, but he ultimately isn't a threat. Agni has a great set of abilities and a great set of cooldown. Good god. Arpwash, an extremely damaging god, but is he that much of a threat? He doesn't have a runaway ability, so no. Amaterasu I can't really talk about because I don't actually know how to play her very well. Onther has the problem that all hunters have, is that they're overpowered as sin because the crit system is broken, because the attack speed and lifesteal and all this stuff is broken. I'd probably put hunters as the strongest thing in this game at the moment. And you can actually see that most of the time with most characters buying crits and instantly being very, 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 very powerful. Apollo falls into the category of why the hell does a hunter need a stun? But other than that, he is very, very strong, but not too broken. Arachne falls into the category of being broken. And it's another one that you see, and it's, why do certain gods need these certain things? Why does Arachne need a minions? Why does she need a runaway? Why does she need a lifesteal? And why does she need a wrap? Every single one of her abilities is a problem in the game. An extremely overpowered runaway ability, which can slow you. She can summon minions, which can slow you. She can lifesteal off of you, which is a problem because the lifesteal system's broken. And she can mummify you, basically stun you so you can't get away. It's like Yamia's freeze. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 broken ones straight off the bat. There are some who are, the rest of them, actually wait, 1, 2, did I miscount? No I didn't, good. Broken ones straight off the bat. You're tempted to put Apollo in there, because there are some gods who have abilities that you think, why the hell do they have? I'll give you Apollo, Cryptus, Izanami, 3 hunters. One can turn invisible, one can become intangible and you can't damage them, and one can stun you. Why are these things that hunters have? I understand a dash away, but why do they have these sort of things? Also, speaking of hunters, why does Cupid have a heal? Why does Skadi have a companion? Why does Heimdallr work and basically act like a warrior? Why does Tsukayumi act like a hunter, not an assassin? These are all questions that I just generally don't know. Of course, Ishtar, so we'll go on to the next page. Oh yeah, Ares. Is Ares broken? Technically, yes. In Conquest, he's not picked as much, but in this game type, yes. In every other one, Ares falls under the bracket of a god who I think should be in another role. I think Ares should be a warrior. Similarly, I think Bacchus should be a warrior. Because while they do have some abilities that aid the team, their damage output and what they can do doesn't actually mean they're a warrior. Doesn't mean they're a guardian. And the fact that Bacchus got a buff, I don't understand. I really don't. So, that's your general thing. That's the massive problem at the moment with the game. Is that when you release a new god, you're trying to fix them. But you also have all these other problems with other gods. Some gods are implemented because of the system that implemented them. Such as, for Amusankarb, Apollo and Anther, because the crit system is broken, they are very, very, very strong. And because the heal system is broken, they are strong. Anubis and Aphrodite and Arachne, because the lifesteal and the heal system are extremely broken at the moment, they are very, very strong because they can heal a lot of points. And always, Achilles and Alquan, because they are gods with an instant kill ability, they will always do very well. And an instant kill ability I still think shouldn't be in the game. It is drastically unfair. I always put it in 5 brackets of the 5 things in this game that are the most broken. Number 1 is the heal system. The heal system is still broken to this date, and they need to fix it. Number 2 is the crit system. Number 3 is the crowd control system. Number 4 is the instant kill ability system. And number 5 is the invincibility slash revive slash, like, gods who become invincible in their abilities. Well, there's so much actually to go on to here. I might have to make a part 1 and part 2 of this. I managed to cover it all in the first attempt. Anyway, right then. Without further ado, I'll quickly move on to why the crit system is broken. Now, on my rant about the Smite Night, I did mention about the crit system. There was one delightful comment who mentioned that the crit system is not OP. I'm sorry, mate, I don't know what version of Smite you're playing, but you're clearly wrong. And just because you mentioned that the armor protects you, alright, great. The lifesteal system, the heal system, you have Pestilence, Contagion, Divine Ruin, Brawler's Beat Stick, that relic I can never remember, it's an Egyptian one, and Osiris's ult. Alright, let's just break that. You have 6 ways you can technically counter the heal system. With the crit system, Geb and the Spectacle Armor, or whatever the hell it's called, they're the only 2 ways. And now you notice the problem there, what I just said. If you didn't, I will explain it. But if you notice the problem there. There are 6 ways, and maybe more, there may be other gods who have certain abilities. There are 6 ways you can counter the heal system. There are 2 ways you can counter the crit system. The crit system was nerfed, and then it was buffed again. You notice how it was 30%, and now it's back to 40%. Oh no, wait, where is it? It's 30% at the moment, isn't it? Was it 25? I think they buffed it by 5, that's right. I'll look into that one in a little while. But it's still very low. So your answer, I won't mention you by name, obviously. Somebody can go watch that video. Your answer to that was just buy that armor. Okay. So if you're a mage, if you're an assassin, if you're a hunter, if you're a warrior. Now, 3 gods who typically wouldn't buy into that type of armor. The assassin might build into a shield. The mage and the hunter really wouldn't be building into them. The warrior may choose to go, you know what, I'm going to go straight to damage. Okay, that's fine. The Guardian, let's go into the Guardians. The Guardians are really the only ones who are going to be building into that item. Now, what happens when you put crits with attack speed and lifesteal? That is an invincible combo. Characters like Cryptus with crits break the damn game. So that 40% out of 100, or even, I think it's 30% at the moment, 30% of 100, it's not a lot. Even if it was 60%, you look at Pestilence at the moment, it's 60%, it's nothing, and Pestilence is 25 for lifesteal. It's absolutely nothing. Now, obviously, I'm assuming you're just somebody who mains the Hunters. I'm somebody who mains the Guardians. Every single Guardian to God Mastery 10. Support is my main role. And I can say here, as a support main, the crit system is drastically broken. I have games sometimes where I just get slaughtered by crits. But there's no counter to it. The amount of crit items you can buy, the amount of attack speed items that they give to them. Crits, attack speed, and lifesteal. Now, attack speed isn't necessarily a problem, but when you have Hunters who get more attack speed, who stun, who heal, who turn invisible, it's next to impossible to fight all of these. One who will send a minion to attack you and get crits. One who gets crits and has penetration-based attacks. One who can teleport across the map. I don't want to talk about him, Delia. Cryptus, who can throw 5 knives in the span you can shoot 1. Whatever the hell he shoots. So, when you also look at that, your Triple Crown, the attack speed system isn't particularly broken. The crit system is drastically broken. But the heal system is still drastically broken. So when you combine all three together, you have meh, broken, broken. Of course the crit system's going to be broken. And I'm sorry, that comment just confused. I'm honestly to God thinking he's a troll. Or he's somebody who, unlike me, which is all diamonds here, he has all diamonds here, and he just said the crit system's not broke. But there are gods you can build crits with, and it works. Erlong Shen you can build crits with. Mulan you can build crits with. Pretty much any god you can build crits with, and they will do well. What doesn't even make a lick more sense is that Ullaron technically has crits, and he's a bloody mage. It just doesn't add up. But to be fair, Ullaron isn't actually played as much anymore. 1 second. I'm thirsty. Alright. Alright. So what have we so far done? The crit system's broken, the heal system's broken. I'll just quickly go into crowd control. Crowd control, there's too much stuff that can stun, too much stuff that can slow. If you're Kumbragana or you're Mia, you're practically immortal. And my massive problem with that is yet again, Hi-Rez's dumb decision. Why did they nerf beads? Beads are the only, unless you've got an ability that gets out of it, Cryptus, which doesn't make sense. Beads were the only way to get out of crowd control based situations, but they increased the time on beads. That doesn't logically make sense. It just doesn't add up. And I am bewildered. Alright, well, what else was there? So it was crits, crowd control. I've talked about instant kill abilities. To be honest, I think they should be removed from the game. They are drastically unfair, but the more to the point that Thanatos stuns you when it lands on you. We won't talk about Thanatos, because he's just... We'll get into certain gods in a minute, but obviously the last one, which I will talk about in my 5 annoying ones, is the heal and whatnot. Now, what I mean by that... Oops, sorry. What I mean by that is very simple, is... gods who can just break the game. So Kronos. Kronos can reverse time and give back a certain amount of his HP. That's fine, but it also reverts back to where he was. You recently released an item that was that, but that just seems a little bit more unfair. Kumbragana is a perfect example of a one done well. When Kumbragana falls asleep, he has like a health bar that you have to break before you can kill him. He can use his yawn to put you to sleep, but of course, if you wake up, you can kill him, which is a good ability. We'll come back to you in a minute, my friend. I think everybody saw that, who I was on about. Kali is a prime example... Oh, sorry. Kali is a prime example of a god who doesn't actually make sense. Her ultimate makes her invincible, and then if she kills somebody, she gets all of her health back. No logical thinking there whatsoever. Thankfully, Kali is not under the list of gods who I want removed, destroyed, and beaten, but she is under the list of gods who are just broken beyond belief and don't make any sense. Similarly, you are too, Lancelot. To be fair, Lancelot, I think, should have been a warrior. Because the way he acts, the way he looks, and look at him! He's a man on a horse doing joust. He's jousting. Why the hell is he an assassin? It doesn't make sense. Speaking of which, why the hell is the God of Thunder an assassin? But you know, he was a warrior. We can always rely on that. He was a warrior. The high-res messed up their coding again. So, who is the... There you go, Khepri. Khepri, in many ways, is the dumbest Guardian in the game. Which is a shame, because I really do like playing Khepri. Khepri is a lot of fun to play. The problem is that his revive ability, it is the game breaker. Because he's the only god in the game who can revive people. And if you're playing against the Khepri, it's the most frustrating thing. But that's just the thing. It's so many easy ways how to fix. If you want to keep the revive system, fine. But don't have the person teleport all the way to you. Just have them revive in the middle of combat still. And you could say, oh, that's unfair. It's not very fair. They still could get killed. Yes, but they come back with, I think it's 40% of their health. They can still keep fighting. I mean, you did it with the item. The item gives you one second of CC immunity, and then you're back into the fray and fighting at your fittest again. So it has happened before. It's not like it's something new and exotic that's never happened before, but you know. So there is so much to talk about with what's wrong with Smite at the moment. Their systems are broken, their characters are broken. I might honestly have to do another tier list video. I haven't done one of those in about 2 years. On why are there so many things wrong with Smite. But there is an easy way to fix it, and it's just to fire everybody at higher res and pay people with passion and smarts, and maybe actually a little bit more of a wage increase, to do it. And I know it's an indie game. I know it's a freaking free-to-play game. Everyone in the world, please comment 50 fucking times that it's a free-to-play game. I know. I've put money and time into this game. And I've been here for, not as long as some people, but I've been here for a good chunk of time. And for people to go 4 years isn't a long time. Flippin', yes it is. As you get older, 4 years become very precious very quickly. But the fact that it's so what it used to be, that's what you hate the most. Looking back at what Smite used to be, I used to enjoy playing games. But the reason at the moment is there are far too many broken gods. Because of certain systems, because of certain abilities, because of certain characters, like I'll finish up here. Who do I think are stupid? Well, Aphrodite is the dumbest character in any game, full stop. Let me see, who else here would be broke as sin and I hate? Chang, another prime example of a character done very, very poorly. Another one who I would say needs to be removed because she's ridiculously overpowered and stupid. None of the Discordia's broken, Freya's broken, Daji... Okay, we won't talk about Daji. Fenrir. Most assassins nowadays can build and play guardians. You can have assassins playing support. I know it's versatile, but it doesn't actually make much sense. Gilgamesh still isn't fixed. Hey, he's fine. Heimdallr, why the hell does his ability go from point to point? Watch my most broken's characters one for that. Hell isn't actually that bad, but she's still annoying. Hera, oops, sugar. Hera can go top damage. Hera is extremely broken. When she first came out, I questioned why the hell. I thought she should have been in Titanfall, but you know, apparently I was wrong. Horus, probably the strongest warrior in the game at the moment. Yeah, no, he's fine. Why do you have an invisibility? Why can you fly halfway across the map? Why can you bring back all your health? Why can you dig underground? Why can you revive people? Why are you not dead? Because in your own thing you're dead. The starter god is one of the most broken gods in the game. Kukulkan Khan has an insane amount of damage. You have a lot of CC, but he is actually very weak. We won't talk about you because you're my favourite and you're not broken in any way and I love you. No, I don't love you. I like you, man. I love your little baby turtles. The Kappa Jr. You should be a warrior. Why? Why did you change Loki? I used to like Loki. His ult, when they didn't, before the rework, he was a lot of fun to play, because you go behind you, and it was something so nostalgic about Loki, that if you were sat in the jungle, like, you're like, I'm gonna go get my damage camp, and then you just hear in the background, you hear Pacha, and you go, wait a minute. You look up at the leaderboard and there's not a Loki on your team. You look at the enemy leaderboard and you're like, oh no. Because what Loki used to do, he used to make that noise, Pacha, which would be his damage buff, and then he'd turn invisible. So you'd be sat in the jungle and you go, doo-doo-doo, you hear the noise, you go, uh-oh, he's here somewhere, and then he just comes from nowhere. But it was something so iconic. I remember once, and it brings back so many happy memories. We were playing, what were we playing? We were playing Conquest. And I was a support, and I was helping my mid at the time, who was we had a 4-stack, which is a shame, because I'm the out of the 4-stack of friends I had, I'm the only one who still remains. Everybody else got sick to death of this game. They all I some reason still have not got. I'm still on the assumption that it's going to get better, but all 3 of them, they went, this game's unplayable at the moment, so they all left. Because they don't like playing the new gods. They don't like playing every time, playing the most broken god in the game. They want to play characters who are not broken. They want to play Kumbragana. They want to play King Arthur. Odin. Odin used to be one of the best characters to play. They want to play the not broken people, but every time you go into a lobby, you meet everyone playing the most broken people. But the thing with Loki, you're in the middle of the jungle and it's like, sweet, I got the damage camp for you. You're walking back and he goes, uh-oh. And I'm like, what? And then, because he saw the Loki turn invisible, then you hear the Pacha! And you go, uh-oh, uh-oh. And then it ends up with me being the Guzenbo, pushing the Loki into the wall while he's running away, and ultimately I end up dying. And it's just like, uh-oh, he's coming. Merlin, another reason, why do gods have more than one ability? They shouldn't have 9 abilities. Neef, another prime example for a god who is a starter god who's broken a sin. Noir, remove her from the game. She doesn't make sense. She can hit all 5 players in the game with 1 ability. How does that fucking make sense? She makes 0 sense. Nox, removed from the game. She is the only god in the game you can't counter. Because her bubble negates everything. It negates Kryptos, it negates Jorm, it negates Cthulhu, it negates Zeus, it negates Odin. It negates everyone. Why would you have a god that negates everyone? The only one who can negate her is Nox. So yeah, remove these 2, because they both don't make sense. Yeah, you're annoying, but not as annoying. Top damage god, though. Your rework on her didn't work. Pele's still broken, because, well, she's overpowered a sin. Give these 2 a buff. I'm lying there. He's fine. Maybe a buff. Raging, maybe a buff. She's annoyingly broken. Why does she have an ability that can go underground? But I made a comparison video that her X ability, sorry, PlayStation player, her X ability causes more damage than half of the mages, and the worst part is her ability needs to charge up. When her ability charges up, she gets more damage, but when she just throws it, it does more damage than half of the mage's main ability. She does more damage than Ra, and that's saying something. And even Poseidon. Why would you have a mage that purposely does more damage when the ability is supposed to wind up and cause more damage? Why would you have it make a big chunk of damage before it even winds up? Set, we won't talk about Set. I don't actually know Set that well. Intangibility annoys me. Instant kill. Fix Susano, please. In Conquest, he's probably not picked as much. In Arena, this man can slice an entire lobby in half. Nobody can counter Susano. He's broke as sin. Make Thor a warrior again, please. That'd be nice. Tsukiyumi, make him a hunter. No, he's fine. I actually haven't played him yet. Vamana, his ult doesn't actually make sense. Can you remove his ult from the game? Or better yet, just remove the heal part, because he gets an insanely large amount of heal. Vulcan, his turret, is probably most of his game. Zeus has more damage than anyone. He has more lifesteal than anyone. It's just madness at the moment. I think I missed one. Yeah, Cabrakan, sorry. Cabrakan. Make him a warrior. Because all of his abilities aren't designed to help people. Alright. That's that. So, a general assumption why I hate Smite at the moment is because there are so much things wrong with it. So many systems are broken, so many gods are broken, but it's more that you can't play the weaker gods. You can't go around and play a game of Agni or somebody who's not an insanely overpowered god, because everyone just picks the broken gods. And there's so many games of Conquest that I see a Hera mid lane. I see a Chang solo lane. And it just gets frustrating. You go, oh great, the most broken... And it is, every time I play. I have only me and someone else now. And you go into a game and you see it and people just go, oh great, look, the most broken god in the game again. And it is just generally sad. Because what Smite used to be to what it is now. And that's the sad part. So, if there was a solution, there is only one solution I can give to this. Aside from firing a lot of people. Is honestly, what you want to do, very simply, is the next major update, don't release a new god. Release cosmetics, release emotes, even release skins, but have a massive look into all your gods. Because it's not only because it's not like we have a shortage of gods. I mean, I can keep pressing that all day long. We don't have a shortage of them. So, don't release a new god. Work on your current systems, your gods, your items, all that stuff. And then, when the year comes through, or like the term comes through, you don't have to worry about making a new god stronger. You don't have to worry about their new god skins, thinking about them. You have all the time in the world. Well, you have a whole season pretty much, like a whole little gap to... You don't have to fix everybody. Just fix some of the big heavy hitters. Like, look back through other people playing the game. Look back through some of my recordings. And everyone else. And you can always see iconic names. Highest damage. Highest damage, surprisingly. Highest damage. Highest heal. Just look back through and see what you can see. And even, I'd say, play your fucking game, to be honest. Because I don't think you do. So, the biggest solution here, I know it was a big rant, there is a lot wrong with this game, but of course, and I do partially blame a little bit on the community, to be honest, because nobody ever talks about it. The YouTubers don't talk about it, the pro players, nobody talks about the problems with the game. Sure, the game is an amazing thing, and it has been an amazing thing. It's still fun to play. When you get the very rare lobby when there isn't an extremely broken character in the game, it is still a lot of fun to play. I still have a lot of fun playing games of Conquest, but there is a lot wrong with the game. And it just seems at the moment that Hi-Rez are just pushing straight forward, and they don't care about anything else. They don't care that half of their characters are very drastically nerfed. They don't care that the characters are overbuffed. I mean, the massive one is Bastet. Bastet is still extremely overpowered. But that one alone completely broke me, because she went in because she was broken and she needed a nerf, and a reworked nerf. But evidently, she came out and she was even stronger than she was before. So it's sadly just one of those moments that you sit there and go, oh, for God's sake, this game again. There are so much things here you could probably fix. And all it would require, honestly, is just a little bit of, I'd say, time. Just work on it, just Don't do as many updates. You don't, and I still say you don't need that many updates. In terms of, oh, it's like, oh, get the latest content out, and I'm like, you don't really need that much. You don't need, I don't know what game on the planet that you need 122 gods, 122 playable characters. I know you break it down into you have 5 classes, but still, 122, and you have to constantly manage and update them. It seems ridiculous. So that's my other rant out of the way. Why I think Smite is drastically broken, and you can see it. I mean, you go into a game of Arena, you go into a game of Assault. Well, actually, no, I don't play Assault anymore because it's broken. That's a video for another day. You go into Conquest, you go into all these game types, and you see the same gods going top damage, top kills, and it's just unfortunate, really. It's just sad. What happened to this game ultimately? But you know, what more can I say, hey? Other than yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and please give me more likes and dislikes and comments, and if that fella who commented about the crit system, please come back to me, because I'd love to hear from you about why you don't think the crit system is broken. But you know, anyway, cheers for watching. Let's just hope in the future it gets better.